A quick reminder out of the gate today. My newest edition of Trend Following, out April 2017. The audiobook is now out. It only took an extra 2 months. Don't ask me why. Typical stuff happens. My audio guy, he got a flood in his condo in New York City. Yes, indeed, that actually happened. Part of the 2-month delay, but it's out. The audio version of Trend Following, the 2017 edition, not to be confused with any other edition because there are 4 other editions. This baby, this book, Trend Following, is a living, breathing document. I planned it that way all the way back to day one. I knew it was going to constantly update as time rolled forward. Not to change the basic principles, those endure, but to give flavor, examples, color, and hell, assuming that I would improve my writing skill, and I think I have a little bit. All of that to be reflected in this 2017 edition and every other edition that will come in the future. But there will definitely not be another edition for at least a couple years, I'm sure, unless some crazy event happens that inspires the hell out of me. But the main point here, the audiobook, 2017 audiobook, Trend Following, 34 plus hours. You can drive clear across America and listen only to this book. So head on over to Amazon or Audible, wherever you pick up audiobooks, and grab it now. I also have one more big picture thought coming out of the gate today. This show is going to be a redux. I'm going to reach back into the archive to pull out one of my more favorite monologues. Why am I doing this? Why am I not giving you something brand new, fresh today? Because I just did the 20 plus hours of flying from America to Southeast Asia. And my brain feels like something like being drunk and no sleep and dizzy. This is what happens to you when you stay up well past 24 hours straight. You go slightly insane. I really do think that you go slightly insane. But as I'm listening to myself right now, I'm probably peppy enough to give the fresh monologue. And I have a lot of things that I want to drill into on my next monologue. Number one, my God, are there some whiny motherfuckers out there. I appreciate all the praise that people give my work. It's nice. It's great. I'm glad people connect with it. And I do like criticism. I want people to give me legitimate criticism. But my God, it seems like I get these whiny, troll, bottom of their mom's basement, tighty-whitey fat boys. These are the people that offer criticism. And almost every time their criticism is some logical fallacy that makes no fucking sense. They've got it out for me. And they want to get their skin. They want to try and draw a little blood on me. And if that's the best the critics can do, if the best criticism I can get are trolls, angry, small, these kinds of people that write these really negative missives, they're just very small, angry people. Nothing better they can do with themselves, nothing better to do with their time. But to go down the path of just giving their bitterness and their hating and their pettiness and put it all out there. Now, you could go ahead, if you're a decent critic, you could go ahead and you could put something out there that gives us a chance to all debate, grow, and learn. But apparently, when you take that very direct writing style and you have a certain, for lack of a better term, I don't necessarily like this term, but when you have a certain libertarian bent, and you're not just for giving money away to everybody, and when you don't love the government, well, that does rile up plenty of people. Significant numbers of people around this world operate in one mode, and that mode is jealousy, and then the secondary follow through from the jealousy, I will use government to, quote, even the score. Now, of course, you never even the score by using government. You're going to get government benefits and even the score with me? Really? Truly? That's what you think? You're going to even the score with an entrepreneur? You're going to even the score with some trader? With some business person? You're evening the score by getting the government to give you a hug? To change your diapers for you? Give me a break. You don't get ahead that way. And that's the whole damn point of something like trend following. It's the whole point of being an entrepreneur. You take responsibility for yourself, and all the other shit is just that, shit. It's asinine to think that you, as a thinking person, actually believe that somebody can help you to get better and to make more money. It's not happening. It's you. It's only you. It's always only been you. And anybody that tells you that it's not you, they're trying to steal your wallet. In fact, the next person that tries to tell you they're going to help you, they're going to fix you, they're going to make it better for you, see if you still got your fucking wallet. I'll guarantee you it's gone. Kind of funny, right? I just told you that I was really tired from 24 hours of traveling, and I did not have the usual gusto. So I should stop there. Just a little flavor. But why am I talking about Time Magazine? May 25th, 1959, there was an article titled Pass de Dough. P-A-S-D-E dough, like money. Pass the dough, pass the money. I had to spend my $3 on the Time Magazine website to get access. And boom, I now have probably one of the first trend-following articles to ever appear in a major publication in America. So how did this random event in my life start? Ira Schumann, a gentleman residing in Washington, D.C., randomly sends me an email the other day. In that email, he includes a scan of the front and back cover of a book, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market by Nicholas Darvis. I've heard of this book for years. I've never read it. I've read about half of it right now. I get the picture. I know what it is. It's trend following. But Ira sends me a scan of the front and back of this book, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market, and one other book by Nicholas Darvis. And the quote on one of the backs of the books, such a just grab you and say 1959, trend following, it's not new. Quote, the only sound reason for my buying a stock is that it is rising in price. If that is happening, no other reason is required. If that is not happening, no other reason is worth considering. End quote, Nicholas Darvis. So brilliant. So brilliant. So prescient. There it is, the wisdom from 1959, applicable to 2015. Trend following in a nutshell. Sure, you need a system. But if the market is not going up, nothing is happening. You don't have to have another rationale. You don't have to dream up what the next signal is going to be, what the next prediction is going to be. Someone wrote me the other day. They said, can you send me your favorite indicators, your favorite analysis for predicting where the market will go tomorrow? I wrote back and I said, I have never met anyone that talks about having a way to predict tomorrow. And I've met some of the best traders of the last 50 years. Personally, they never talk about that. The Darvis book intrigued me. I've seen it mentioned throughout social media, forums, blogs, frankly, for the last 20 years. Maybe I was turned off by the title. The title's kind of How I Made $2 Million in some short amount of time. I just never connected the dots that it was a trend following type thinking. And if I go to the Wikipedia page for Nicholas Darvis, there does seem to be some controversy about how much money he made. Back in 1960, there was an investigation that perhaps the 2 million was not the accurate figure. Hell, we are not going to have any way of figuring that out today. But it's terribly interesting that a self-made man, a self-made individual who is a professional dancer, in his spare time, starting down the path of using fundamentals, listening to tips, listening to brokers, all of the mistakes that people go through, this man made. He made them all in spades. And his book is about those mistakes and leading to a path to where he starts to understand how it all works. Let me quote a passage from the Time magazine article, 1959. Moneyman Darvis's methods would raise the eyebrows of most Wall Streeters. Instead of studying what Wall Street calls the fundamentals, price-earnings ratios, and dividends, he judges public enthusiasm, a method that works best in volatile markets. In my dancing, I know how to judge an audience, he says. It is instinctive. The same way with the stock market. You have to find out what the public wants and go along with it. You can't fight the tape or the public, end quote. You can see the philosophical foundation of trend following. I just find it so damn cool to be sitting here reading an article from 1959, timeless. Absolutely 100% timeless. And such a vast majority of the population would hear Time magazine article 1959, that has no value for me in making money in 2015. They would just dismiss it summarily. We all know those people. Now, just as a side note, that's one of the reasons trend following will always continue to work. Let me continue from the Time magazine article. Darvis' system is tailored to his job, since he has to do trading from wherever he is dancing. He recently completed an Asian tour. He ignores tips, financial stories, and brokers' letters, and has never been in a broker's office. What another great aspect of the lessons that we can learn from 1959 and 2015. Location independence. You can be anywhere. You could absolutely be anywhere to be a trend following trader. It does not matter where you are. I am being 100% dead on speaking the truth. To beat home a point that some of the greatest myths, some of the greatest holy grails of Wall Street, the necessity to be close to the action, the trading floor symbolism, being down in that pit, that's where you need to be. Well, first off, the pit doesn't exist anymore. Point one. Point two, even if you look at one of the most successful pit traders ever, Richard Dennis, and he did make his first $1 million in the Chicago pits, no doubt about it. But the vast majority of his fortune, it was being a trend-following trader off the floor with the turtles. That was where all the money was made. And again, even if you wanted to say, well, Mike, that's great about the trend following, but I like the short term. I like the trading floor. That stuff doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And are you going to compete against high-frequency traders? Are you going to find server location close enough to the exchanges that you can beat out the other people that are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on infrastructure to trade at the speed of light? I digress. Back to 1959, Time magazine, continuing. Darvis places his buy orders for levels that he considers breakout points on the upside. At the same time, he places a stop-loss sell order just below his buy order, so that if the stock does not move straight up after he buys, he will be sold out and his loss cut. I have no ego in the stock market, he says. If I make a mistake, I admit it immediately and get out fast. Darvis thinks his system is the height of conservatism. Says he, if you could play roulette with the assurance that whenever you bet $100, you could get out for $98 if you lost your bet, wouldn't you call that good odds? If he has a big profit in a stock, he puts the stop-loss order just below the level at which a sliding stock should meet support or an exit signal. He bought Universal Controls. I have no idea what stock that is. This is 1959, people. It's probably no longer around. He bought Universal Controls at 18, sold it at 83 on the way down after it had hit 102. I never bought a stock at the low or sold one at the high in my life, says Darvis. I'm satisfied to be along for most of the ride. Damn straight is that trend following. He just sums up trend following, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, right in the solar plexus, right in the gut, one big kick in the ass. There it is, trend following. I'm not even sure why I'm so excited today. I just think it's damn cool to be reading an article from 1959 that's talking about trend following the exact way that I would write about it today. Continuing in Time magazine, the biggest factor in stock prices is the lure of future earnings. The dream of the future is what excites people, not the reality. And there he sums up so nicely why relying on fundamentals is fool's gold. You have a fundamental view about what's going to happen tomorrow? Bullshit. Oh, you might think you have one, but it's bullshit. And deep down, you know it's bullshit. Deep down, you're just trying to sell some other sucker that your fundamental view, your prediction will work. And the selling of the sucker is just a way for you to make money. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. My name is Mike Covel and I'm trying to make money too. No doubt about that. I'm a capitalist through and through. If they have some description beyond capitalism about making money, I'll put myself there in the truest Ayn Rand sense. And for those of you that hate Ayn Rand, I don't give a shit either. But the bottom line is, if you're going to be a capitalist, if you're going to give people insights, then give them the honest information. And every last person right now today that comes on a finance channel, goes in a finance newspaper, anywhere that can be seen by the public, and purports to know what's going to happen tomorrow is absolutely selling you a dog with a bad heart, a dog with a broken leg. And if you can't control your own emotions enough, if you can't understand that you're being sold the used car, if you can't see that, well, my friends, I have no sympathy for you either. It's the greed and fear thing at work. It's the reason that Darvis's writings, that Darvis's thinking in 1959 will still be applicable today and into the future. It's the reason when I look at AQR's work, or Capital Fund Management's work, or David Harding's work, or Larry Height's work, and all four of those firms that have major trend following components today in 2015 have written white papers in the last few years describing how trend following performance goes back centuries. That's centuries with a C, hundreds of years. So I guess by that comparison, the 1959 article in Time magazine about Nicholas Darvish should not have me so excited. A few other great lines from his book. I just jog along with the trend trailing my stop-loss insurance behind me. There are no good or bad stocks. There are only rising and falling stocks. I knew nothing about it, nor could I find out very much. Yet I assumed from its continuing rise in high volume that some people knew a lot more about it than I did. In the same way, I decided that if a usually inactive stock suddenly became active, I would consider this unusual. And if it also advanced in price, I would buy it. I would assume that somewhere behind the out-of-the-ordinary movement, there was a group who had some good information. By buying the stock, I would become their silent partner. What a great way to also reframe the thinking, to reframe what trend following is. You are the silent partner on the trend. You do not know why the smart money is pushing the market or moving the market. You don't know and you don't care. You are the silent partner along for the ride. I just got back from Beijing within the last few weeks. I spoke to over 1,100 people. Check out my monologue about going to China if interested. Not trading related, but gives a great insight into China. One of the things that I talked about with my new friends in China, and this was on June 20th, with the Shanghai index at just about all-time highs, I said, if it keeps going up, buy it. It's in a bull market. Of course, everyone loves that. But in the very next breath, I said, but if it goes down, and you have to know when your going down point is hit. If it goes down and it hits a point, you have to get the blank out. Well, roll forward a few weeks, and then Shanghai is now down 20%. I surely hope some of my new friends in China had an exit strategy because all the stops were hit. Darvis 101, 1959. Roll forward to 2015. It's all applicable. Nothing changes. People are the same. Life goes on. Just the question becomes is how are you going to play it? How are you going to make it happen? What rules are you going to follow? Or are you going to be at the mercy of the silly talk? You could be all panicky about Greece. What's going to happen with Greece? The end of the world's going to happen. A country of 10 million people is going to bring the entire world of over 7 billion people down to its knees. You can worry about that. You can keep yourself in that place. Don't do that. Don't let yourself. You know why I love watching the Greece story? Not because it affects my investments or trading. I just love watching the chaos. I love watching the circus. I love analyzing the psychology of all of the players, from the man on the street at the ATM to the higher up finance ministers to the various Euro technocrats making decisions. I love watching the entire game in play because it's just one big game. And that's my own little perversion, so to speak. I sure as hell am not going to apply money off any of that analysis, though, because my analysis of all of those events is worth absolutely nothing, just like your analysis of those events is worth absolutely nothing. The only analysis that's worth a damn thing, just like the Shanghai Index example that I just mentioned, is the price analysis. If the price is going up, great, you're long. If the price is going down, great, you're either out or you're short. That's it. Yes, it gets a little more complicated than that. Yes, you need rules. You need a complete exit strategy. You need to have a strategy for how you select your portfolio. You're not going to trade every market. You need to have a strategy for how you're going to size your position. How much are you going to bet on every trade? You can't bet unlimited money because you don't have unlimited money. So how much capital are you going to bet of your limited capital? Yeah, you better think that through before you get into the game. The game's always going to be there. So just be patient, get your rules together. For example, read Darvis's book. We all don't have enough time to make all the mistakes that we could possibly make in our lifetime. The smart people avoid making some mistakes and learn from the mistakes of others. That's progress. Now, you can be a little cocky about this, you can be a little egotistical about this, and you can say to yourself that I have to learn all of my mistakes on my own. Well, yes, you can do that. Good luck. Best of luck to you. A few more bullet points from Mr. Darvis, summing up some of his thinking and his lessons. He describes his box technique, which was very similar to a breakout. Number one, this experience, as I see it, was an important turning point of my stock market career, this boxes thinking. Number two, it was at this point that I finally realized that. Number three, there is no sure thing in the market. I was bound to be wrong half of the time. Number four, I must accept this fact and readjust myself accordingly. My pride and ego would have to be subdued. Number five, I must become an impartial diagnostician who does not identify himself with any theory or stock. Number six, I cannot merely take chances. First, I have to reduce my risks as far as humanly possible. 1959 is 2015. The circle's unbroken. It's all the same. Good technique then is good technique today. There are many forms of trend following trading. The example that I talk about today with Nicholas Darvis is just one. His box theory, very similar to a breakout or a Bollinger Band, very similar. But as I say that, remember, this is about a complete trading approach, not just getting fascinated or excited with some sexy indicator. Please don't do that. But once you have that approach, once you've settled on your system, now the game has really just started. Because once the system is in place, and please go back and listen to my most recent podcast with Ed Sakota, we go straight into the psych issues, the mental issues, the emotional issues. Because once you have that system, whether it's Darvis's trading system or some other trading system, the mind quickly becomes paramount. Your mind, how you handle your daily life. How do you navigate the stresses? How do you navigate the onslaught of information coming at you? That was part of the genius of Darvis, was figuring out a way to block out all of the noise, the extra information, the information that was irrelevant, not important, simply not useful. But this is not easy. The mind game is difficult. One of my favorite voices to offer insights into the mind has never been officially associated with anything to do with trend following trading. Alan Watts introduced Eastern philosophy to the West. And the way that he introduced Eastern philosophy is timeless. You might be saying to yourself, Mike, but I don't want to talk about religion. Guess what? I don't want to talk about religion, and I'm not talking about religion. But as you move into using your trading system, the concept of worry on the mind, will be front and center. In my humble opinion, Alan Watts offers some of the best prescription for dealing with worry. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.